So how do you feel about your first game as Everton manager against Arsenal?
Well, I'm excited. I mean, I'm aware, of the recent noise around the club and all that sort of stuff, but I think it's important. I don't know everything about the Evertonians. I'm learning about the reasons why there's some noise around the club and things like that. I mean, in a depth reasons rather than just what I've read. But the one thing I know about the Evertonians, they stand by their club and they protect it and they'll look after it, and that's what I need now. I need that as a manager. My staff, my players need that full support, that's for sure. So looking into the first game, I think that's going to be really important just as a start point.
And any chance of something that could happen in the free transfer?
Well, yeah, again, I mean, often we're being totally disrespectful to football and the system that it is. Sometimes, not always, but some of them players are there for a reason, because maybe there's a reason why they're not at clubs. You do get the odd bit of gold, like I said. We're looking at the market. Of course, we're aware of the players out there, but yet again, they've got to be able to affect what we do. So that's the biggest one for me. Now, it's not always about money and have or have not. You've got to bring players in to affect what you do. And I've been a big believer in that for many years, and you definitely know that because you've spoken to me about it many times.
I will have to throw one name at you, though. Isco, any chance?
As I said, there's a list of players we'll be looking through. Do they fit what we need? Do they fit what we can do? Do they fit what we need to achieve going forward? And can they do it with, pretty quickly? Because, you sign players for the future, that's different. But let's face it, we need things that are going to activate now. So the first port of call is in-house. What have we got in-house? Can we make sure they're ready for the task in front of us? Well, the timing of that was before me, obviously. The sale, I mean. So that was already in progress. Trying to react to the situation then is a different ballgame, because you don't know what money's coming in until that deal was done, of course. It's coming in, not literally, by the way. It doesn't come in all in one go. They don't just go, here you go. And then looking at the players that would fit into that market of the money available against the quality of player. Of course, there's lists of players that everyone will have. Most players know the runners and riders. Most teams and most development units, recruitment units, know the runners and riders in football. Like I say, the odd bit of gold, that you find, young player or a developing player you might find, but generally, we all know the players that we think are going to be the players. But you've got to get ones that you're more or less hedging your bets they can affect the group. And as I said, I think there's some very good players here. They're maybe not performing at the level they can do at this moment in time, but that's my job, the staff's job and their job to take that on and remind ourselves what a good group of players there are.
It seemed when you took over as well, Sean, that promises were made about recruitment. It seems the way you're talking that you don't feel let down by that.
No, there doesn't seem that there was any promises. Promises. What promises can you make in recruitment? It takes the human beings. It takes everyone to align. Simple as that. You make many promises about this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, people have got to align with what the deal is. And literally sign a deal or a contract that puts them as part of your football club. I don't speak about other people's players. You know that. You've known me a long time. I don't really do that. So there's fair to say there was loads of phone calls made, offers put in. They didn't get to the place we wanted them to be for whatever reason. That's the way it sometimes goes.
Signings in those last few days of the transfer window while you were here, and what explanation have you been given for not bringing in new faces previously in the month? Well,
firstly, one thing I can assure you, because I've been here at once I was appointed, I managed to get here Saturday, so I can only tell you what I know from being here. And Saturday, all I've seen is hard work. That's all I've seen so far, particularly in the recruitment area, because obviously we know the window's the owner, the chairman, Kev, myself, I've been leaving here late at night. Kev on the phone constantly. The owner, the chairman on the phone constantly. I can assure you I was there. I physically was there, seeing it all. So there's absolutely been hard work. A couple of things about the playing options is, first of all, you've got to align them. I've said many, many years, my Premier League experience is all parties have to say yes. We all know that. You've got to get to that situation. You need the finance in place to make them situations happen. We all know that. But likewise, the thing that often gets overviewed is that they've got to be better than what we've got here. I think we've got some very, very good players here. Some very talented players. Now, they may have lost their way. We can all have debates on why things are not where they want to be or what they should be or whatever people deem. But there's some very talented players here. And I've never been one that's signing players for the sake of signing them. There's a rule to every rule, and that would be, if you've got a young player you think can develop into these style of players and this level of quality, of course, that's different. But when you're talking about players just coming in and going straight into, let's say, the team, they better be good players, because I believe there's good players here. Now, of course, our job is to help them, guide them, hopefully, to better days and polish them down, and polish them up a bit rather, and maybe give them a different way of looking at the game, and give them the freedom to go and play amongst the framework to be strong as a unit. But you get my point. Is you're not just going to sign players for the sake. Well, I'm not. I'm just going to not sign players for the sake of signing them, and then you never see them again. They've got to affect what we're doing, and they've got to be good enough to affect what we're doing. As I don't see the point in it. And we work very, very hard, I can assure you, because I was here, I was watching it, I was involved in it, I'm ringing agents, we're doing all of the diligence, all the crunching of analytics numbers, everything we could do to define the players that can help. I think it's been a really good welcome from all, in fact, staff, players alike. I know a bit about the feel around the club from being here, visiting here, but it's true, the staff, everyone's been very open to us being here. So not just them players, and I think there's been a good reaction so far to what we've tried to do in this early part of our careers here.
So how have the first few days gone? What have you been working on with the players? What have you learned new about your squad?
Well, I think they're open-minded. I think they've been very honest about the challenge, about what it is, what it has been, what it is now, and where we can go. We did a bit of a feedback session on that, so I was happy with their honesty. I think there's a desire to put things right. I think that's relevant and become quite obvious, actually. Excuse me. They know there's an adaptation period for what we want to do. A load of stories made about me doing yo-yo tests. It's all nonsense. It's just a scientific test, that's all. One of many that we do. I know the markers. I know the physical markers in the Premier League. It's one of a few different versions of tests that I've used down the years. I've got all the data for it. So that was just a marker in the sand, which I explained to the players. Someone was implying it was a question about the feeling of other managers that have been in. Nothing at all. I've total respect for all managers, including Frank and his staff. I'm sure they work very hard here. No question that whatsoever. I can only share a view of how I want to do things and not question others.